it's a DeLorean that this friend of mine who's a mad scientist converts into a time machine.
Oh, 2015, that's heavy. All these people must have got here in their flying cars.
Michael J. Fox once had it all. A dazzling career in Hollywood, unforgettable roles that made him the face of an entire generation, and a future that seemed limitless under the spotlight. From Family Ties to Back to the Future, he embodied youth, humor, and ambition. A young man who made the world believe in miracles. But at the very height of his success, fate struck with an unthinkable blow. At just 29, Fox was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, a condition often associated with old age, suddenly descending on a star in his prime. From that moment on, his life was no longer just about roles on screen, but about enduring a tragic battle. Unexpected tremors, collapsing to the floor, and the haunting fear of a fading future. Yet instead of vanishing in silence, Michael J. Fox chose to confront it head-on. He acknowledged the truth, then transformed it into the fire that kept him moving forward. From a teen idol, he became the loudest voice for the global Parkinson's community, founding a research foundation, raising billions of dollars, and bringing hope to millions. Michael J. Fox is not just Marty McFly, the boy in the DeLorean racing through time. He is living proof that even when time strips away the spotlight, a person can still choose to shine. Michael Andrew Fox was born on June 9th, 1961, in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. He was the fourth of 5 children of William and Phyllis Fox. His father, a former World War II soldier, later became a police officer, while his mother worked as a payroll clerk, managing the household. Life for the Fox family was never stable. Because of his father's job, they moved constantly, from Edmonton to small military towns scattered across Canada. For a young boy, that meant a childhood full of upheaval. Friends changed constantly. Schools were never fixed, and Michael often felt like an outsider. Just as he began to settle into a new place, the family would pack up and leave again. This sense of instability and loneliness crept into him early on, forcing him to adapt by being lively, witty, and able to make others laugh. Humor became Michael's shield, helping him gain acceptance in new environments while also masking a deep sense of insecurity. Financially, things were also difficult. His father's salary was not enough to support a large family, and his mother had to take on extra office work to make ends meet. Michael quickly learned that money was never easy to earn, and survival depended on flexibility and seizing every opportunity. This forged a boy who was both quick-witted and remarkably resilient, qualities that later became his weapons for survival in the harsh world of Hollywood. Another clear disadvantage was his physique. Michael was smaller than most of his peers, and his short stature often made him the target of teasing. This left him with a deep-seated inferiority complex, a constant sense of being less than. Ironically, however, that very youthful appearance later worked in his favor, allowing him to be cast in teenage roles well into his 20s. His passion for the arts began to take shape when the family settled in Burnaby, British Columbia. There, Michael started playing guitar, joined small school bands, and gradually moved onto the stage. At 15, he landed his first professional acting role in the Canadian TV series Leo and Me. Receiving a paycheck for acting at such a young age convinced Michael that performing could be more than just a hobby. It could be a real career path. But the biggest turning point came when he decided to leave school behind. At 18, Michael took a daring leap. He dropped out of high school, packed a few belongings, carried a guitar, and left for Los Angeles with only a handful of dollars. Knowing that his real name, Michael A. Fox, sounded too stiff, he changed it to Michael J. Fox. Short, catchy, and destined to become one of the brightest names of 1980s cinema. The early days in Los Angeles were anything but glamorous. Michael lived in a tiny apartment, worked odd jobs to pay the rent, and sometimes survived on instant noodles. Auditions often ended in disappointment, with many directors dismissing him as too short to ever be a movie star. But Fox refused to give up. He believed that all it would take was one chance, one role big enough to overturn every prejudice. And from those fragile beginnings, that determination was exactly what carried Michael J. Fox out of the shadows, toward becoming one of the greatest icons Hollywood has ever produced. At 18, when he set foot in Los Angeles, Michael J. Fox had only a few dozen dollars and a fragile belief that he could become an actor. His early years were a constant struggle, living in a cramped apartment, going to audition after audition, only to land forgettable supporting roles in B-movies and short-lived TV series. The failed castings piled up, and there were moments when he even considered giving up and returning to Canada. The real breakthrough came in 1982, when Michael J. Fox was cast as Alex P. Keaton in NBC's sitcom Family Ties. At first, the decision met with resistance. Producers worried Fox was too short, his appearance lacking the TV star look to carry such an important role. Brandon Tartikoff, NBC's president at the time, even sneered, "This kid's face will never end up on a lunchbox." That remark felt like a verdict, but it also became the very challenge Fox was determined to overturn. On paper, Alex P. Keaton was just a secondary role, a serious young man meant to contrast with his free-spirited liberal parents. Yet Michael J. Fox infused Alex with something new. Sharp, mischievous eyes, machine-gun-fast delivery, and impeccable comic timing. He transformed Alex from a bookish teenager into a cultural phenomenon, a money-loving, Reagan-worshipping conservative kid who was nevertheless too smart and charming for audiences to dislike. American viewers were instantly captivated. Children saw Alex as a model of confidence and intelligence, while adults laughed at his fiery debates with his hippie parents. No one remembered Brandon Tartikoff's snide remark anymore, because soon enough Michael J. Fox's face was everywhere, on magazine covers, on posters, and, just as the joke once denied, printed on American kids' lunchboxes. Family Ties ran from 1982 to 1989, lasting 7 seasons with sky-high ratings. During that time, Michael J. Fox not only turned Alex P. Keaton into an icon of the 1980s, but also reaped personal triumphs. 3 consecutive Emmy Awards, 1986 to 1988, and a Golden Globe, 1989. From a young man once mocked for his stature, Fox became a household name in America, celebrated as the new face of youth. Witty, intelligent, and ambitious. The fame from Family Ties quickly brought Fox closer to film, but the true turning point came in 1985. That year, Robert Zemeckis' science fiction film Back to the Future was already in production with Eric Stoltz as Marty McFly. Although Stoltz was a capable actor, the director and crew gradually realized he didn't fit the light-hearted, quick-witted tone the movie demanded. They made a bold, risky decision to replace the lead mid-production, almost unheard of in Hollywood, and the name they turned to was Michael J. Fox. However, Fox was still tied to his Family Ties contract. The sitcom's producers refused to lose their central figure, agreeing only on the condition that filming Family Ties would not be disrupted. This forced Michael J. Fox into an almost inhuman schedule. By day, he shot the sitcom from morning until evening. When night fell, he rushed to the Back to the Future set, filming until dawn. His sleep was reduced to a few hours in the car, his energy fueled by coffee and youthful determination. This grueling routine stretched on for months, draining his strength but showcasing his extraordinary perseverance, and the payoff exceeded all expectations. Marty McFly, the mischievous, gutsy, yet innocent teenager, became one of the most iconic characters of 1980 cinema. Michael J. Fox, in his red puffer vest, sitting inside the DeLorean as it blasted through time, etched himself into the memory of millions, catapulting his career beyond television into the ranks of global movie stardom. From the boy once dismissed as not Hollywood material, Fox turned the tables completely. His very differences, youthful looks, rapid-fire delivery, effortless humor, became the keys that made him irreplaceable. From that point on, Michael J. Fox was no longer just a TV star. He was the defining face of an era. After Back to the Future premiered in the summer of 1985, Michael J. Fox became an overnight global sensation. The film topped the box office for weeks, became the highest-grossing release of the year, and quickly entered the ranks of Hollywood classics. Audiences around the world fell in love with Marty McFly, a quick-witted teenager who could turn any trouble into comedy while still evoking genuine empathy. This success ushered in the golden era of Fox's career. In 1985, alongside Back to the Future, he also starred in Teen Wolf, a fantasy comedy about a high school student who discovers he is a werewolf. Though the script was simple, it was Fox's charm, playfulness, and natural performance that made the film a surprise box office hit, cementing his status as a beloved teen idol. 2 years later, Fox sought to break away from his comedic typecast by pursuing more mature roles. In Light of Day, 1987, he played a rock musician struggling with family and career conflicts. While the film did not create a craze, it showed Fox's willingness to challenge himself with deeper, more dramatic characters. That same year, he returned to his comedic sweet spot with The Secret of My Success, a satirical comedy about a small-town boy trying to climb the corporate ladder in New York. With his signature wit and fast-paced delivery, Fox turned it into one of the year's most popular romantic comedies. In Bright Lights, Big City, 1988, Fox went even further, portraying a young writer spiraling into a life of debauchery, alcohol, and drugs in New York. The role shocked critics and audiences alike, as it stood in stark contrast to his long-standing innocent and optimistic image. Though the film did not achieve major commercial success, his performance proved his versatility and expanded his range far beyond the teen idol mold. This series of roles, spanning lighthearted comedy, romance, and psychological drama, showed that Michael J. Fox was never content to play it safe. He experimented boldly, unafraid of failure, and in doing so, established himself as an actor who could hold audiences' attention through sheer charm and adaptability. Even when his films were not blockbusters, the name Michael J. Fox alone was enough to draw audiences to theaters, a testament to his rare star power during the brightest years of his career. Alongside these strides on the big screen, Family Ties continued to air steadily from 1982 until its finale in 1989. The sitcom became a nightly staple for millions of American households, reflecting generational shifts as free-spirited liberal parents clashed with their ambitious business-minded son. The seamless chemistry between Michael J. Fox and seasoned actors like Meredith Baxter and Michael Gross turned the show into a cultural phenomenon. This unusual duality placed Fox in a rare position. By day, he appeared on TV as Alex P. Keaton. By night, he became Marty McFly on the big screen. In the 1980s, few actors managed to dominate both arenas at once. Normally, television stars and film stars were clearly separated, but Fox shattered that boundary, proving that talent and charisma could win over audiences across every screen. When Family Ties ended, television audiences barely had time to miss him before Fox returned with another explosion on the silver screen. Back to the Future Part 2, 1989, and Part 3, 1990. These sequels not only lived up to the massive expectations set by the first film, but also expanded the saga of Marty McFly and the time-traveling DeLorean into a full-fledged cinematic universe. Back to the Future. Part 2 transported audiences to the year 2015, with futuristic visions like hoverboards and self-lacing shoes, sparking a pop culture craze that lasted for decades. Soon after, Part 3 premiered with a Wild West setting, showcasing the franchise's flexibility in blending adventure, comedy, and science fiction. All three films were major successes, turning Marty McFly into one of Hollywood's most enduring characters. For audiences worldwide, especially those who grew up in the 1980s and 1990s, the image of Michael J. Fox in a red puffer vest, racing through time in the DeLorean, became etched as part of childhood memory. Marty McFly was more than just a role. He was a symbol of youth, adventure, and the desire to break free of limitations. Thanks to this character, Michael J. Fox was no longer simply a star. He became an immortal piece of popular culture, standing alongside the greatest cinematic icons of his era. Moving into the 1990s, as the Back to the Future spotlight began to fade, Fox deliberately sought new challenges to prove he wasn't defined by a single role. In 1991, he starred in Doc Hollywood, a romantic comedy about a young doctor on his way to Los Angeles who gets stranded in a small town, where he discovers the simple values of love and community. The film was a surprise hit, becoming one of the year's top earners and establishing Fox as a charming lead in romantic comedies. He continued to diversify his projects. For Love or Money, 1993, cast him as a hotel concierge dreaming of a better life, mixing humor with social satire, while Greedy, 1994, tackled a tale of a family consumed by inheritance squabbles, where Fox's fast-paced comedic style shone once again. That same year, he voiced Chance the dog in the animated film Homeward Bound: The Incredible Journey. His lively, witty voice work brought the character to life and made him a favorite among children, expanding his fan base to a younger generation. Not every film was a box office smash or a critical darling, but the common thread was that Fox always brought warmth, humor, and relatability to his roles. He became the kind of actor audiences trusted. If Michael J. Fox was in the cast, the film would deliver heart and joy. His second career peak came in the late 1990s, when Fox returned to television with ABC's sitcom Spin City, 1996 to 2000. Playing Michael Flaherty, the sharp yet harried deputy mayor of New York who constantly found himself entangled in political absurdities, Fox discovered another tailor-made role. The show thrived not only on its sharp satirical writing, but also on Fox's natural charisma and flawless comedic timing. Within just a few years, Spin City earned him a string of prestigious awards: Golden Globes for Best Actor in a Comedy Musical, 1998-2000, and 3 Emmy Awards. Critics and audiences alike agreed that Fox had once again conquered both television and film, proving that he was not a star of the past, but still one of Hollywood's most bankable and beloved figures at the close of the 20th century. From a small boy once overlooked for his size, Michael J. Fox had traveled a long way to become one of the most cherished actors of the 1980s and 1990s. He not only made audiences laugh with his innate charm, but also instilled in them a simple belief: that an ordinary person armed with optimism and determination could achieve something extraordinary. In 1990, at the height of his career with a string of box office hits, Michael J. Fox was struck by a devastating blow. His father passed away. William Fox, once a soldier and later a police officer, was not only the family's anchor but also a model of resilience, quietly instilling in Michael the strength to endure in his profession. His death left a void that no award or spotlight could ever fill. Behind the familiar smiles on screen, Fox began to feel more acutely the fragility of life. Just a year after losing his father, an even greater tragedy struck. In 1991, at the age of 29 to 30, at the very peak of his career, fresh off the Back to the Future trilogy, and hailed as one of Hollywood's golden faces, Michael J. Fox heard the 3 words no young actor ever wants to hear: Parkinson's disease. The doctors diagnosed him with early-onset Parkinson's, a condition usually seen in the elderly. It was nothing less than a slow, merciless death sentence, and for someone as youthful and energetic as Fox, the shock was doubled. The news cut across his future like a blade. On his way home, Fox kept asking himself, what will happen to my career? Will there be any roles left for me? What about Tracy? What about my children? If one day I can't even hold their hands? The fear of becoming a burden haunted him for years, and suddenly Hollywood's glow felt more fragile than ever. Fox chose silence. For 7 years, he lived almost 2 lives, one in front of the camera, vibrant, witty, exploding with energy as if nothing were wrong, and another behind the scenes, struggling with medication, hiding tremors that grew harder and harder to control. He had to take levodopa at exact intervals, so often that he bitterly joked he was popping pills like Smarties. Every scene was a gamble. Would the medicine kick in time for his hands to stop shaking before the cameras rolled? To conceal it, Fox devised countless tricks. He would clutch a briefcase tightly, hold a coffee cup, or flip through a script. Any prop could serve as a curtain to hide the trembling hand. Audiences laughed at his comic timing on screen, never knowing it was all underpinned by careful strategies of disguise. He accepted more films, packed his schedule to the brim, not only out of love for acting, but also because constant busyness was the only remedy that dulled the terrifying future looming ahead. But fear could not stay buried forever. When the lights went out and the cameras stopped rolling, the truth returned to haunt him. Sleepless nights became torture. To cope, Fox turned to alcohol. At first, just a small drink to help him sleep, but it quickly grew into a habit. The bottle gradually replaced his pillow, becoming a cage that trapped him. By 1992, Michael had hit rock bottom, waking up with a foggy head, shattered memories, a crushing weight on his career, and a fear he could not escape. Behind Hollywood's glittering facade, he stood on the edge of self-destruction, at risk of losing everything: his career, his family, and himself. What pulled him back was Tracy Pollan, the woman who had stood by his side since family ties and married him in 1988. Tracy did not walk away when she saw her husband faltering. Instead, she faced it with him, patiently. It was her love, along with his deep desire to be a present father to their children, that gave Michael J. Fox the strength to climb out of the abyss. He made the firm decision to quit drinking and, for the first time, to face the sentence of Parkinson's head-on, rather than try to run from it. In 1996, Michael J. Fox agreed to return to television with Spin City, a political satire sitcom produced by ABC. It was not an easy decision, as he had already been living with Parkinson's for 5 years. Before signing the contract, Fox chose honesty. He met with the network executives and openly told them that he had Parkinson's disease and did not know how much longer he could continue working. Those words could have closed the door on him forever, but instead, the producers placed their faith in his energy and star power. That very trust opened the way to one of the most memorable roles of Fox's career. In Spin City, he played Michael Flaherty, the witty, sharp deputy mayor of New York, always at the forefront of political crises. This was not just a comedic character, but also one laced with wit and satire, the very qualities Fox could still bring to life even as his body began to betray him. Success came quickly. The show became a late 1990s television phenomenon, and Fox won consecutive Golden Globes, 1998, 2000, an Emmy, and a SAG award for his performance. He proved to the world that Parkinson's could make his hands shake, but it could not dim his talent. Yet the price was steep. The tremors grew more frequent, and medication no longer worked as effectively. On set, Fox struggled with standing for long periods, memorizing lengthy lines, and had to stage manage props and movements to conceal his symptoms. In 1998, he underwent a thalamotomy, a surgical procedure targeting the brain's motor control regions to reduce tremors. The operation brought temporary relief, but did not change the truth. The disease was advancing every day. In 2000, at age 39, Fox made the painful decision to leave Spin City. For him, it was not about the end of a career, but about acknowledging that his body could no longer endure the grueling pace of a weekly TV series. He left the show in tears, surrounded by colleagues and fans who had witnessed his extraordinary efforts across 4 seasons. After stepping down from leading roles, Michael J. Fox did not disappear. Instead, he discovered a new approach, taking guest roles written specifically around his real symptoms. In Rescue Me, he played a paralyzed man, a performance so sharp it earned him an Emmy. On The Good Wife, Boston Legal, Scrubs, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and most recently, The Good Fight, 2020, Fox skillfully turned his condition into part of his characters. Each appearance reminded audiences they were watching not just an actor, but a courageous man willing to lay his most vulnerable reality bare on screen. The disease, however, advanced mercilessly. Fox began losing short-term memory, once his greatest strength for rapid line learning, now a major obstacle. He suffered frequent falls, broken hands, a fractured face, even spinal surgery just to remain mobile. For longer distances, he relied on a wheelchair. Yet instead of letting pain consume him, Michael chose another way: humor as a spiritual medicine. He quipped, "Falling is the sport I'm best at now." That self-deprecating humor not only lifted him, but also gave millions of fans the strength to laugh in the harshest circumstances. More than that, Fox decided to turn his illness into his life's mission. He founded the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research with a radically different philosophy. Rather than scattering resources on vague campaigns, the foundation would put money directly into research. That principle transformed it into one of the most transparent, powerful, and effective scientific funding forces in the world. From the start, the foundation grew rapidly. By 2023, it had raised over $2 billion, an extraordinary figure in medical research. What impressed observers was not only the scale of funding, but also the creativity of campaigns. In 2016, a raffle for Nike's self-lacing sneakers, modeled after Back to the Future Part 2, became a worldwide sensation. In 2024, a fundraising rowing challenge again demonstrated how Fox leveraged cultural touchstones to turn fandom into concrete action. Among its most groundbreaking initiatives was PPMI, Parkinson's Progression Markers Initiative, launched in 2010. This long-term project sought biological markers that could transform the entire field. The true breakthrough came in 2023 when researchers announced the discovery of alpha-synuclein, SAA, a biomarker capable of detecting Parkinson's with around 93% accuracy. The findings shocked the scientific community and opened the door to faster, more precise clinical trials. In 2024, the FDA formally endorsed the use of this biomarker in research, legitimizing and accelerating drug development. By 2025, the IQ plus U campaign expanded PPMI with the goal of advancing early detection, moving toward a future where Parkinson's could be identified even in its pre-symptomatic stages. Beyond the lab, Michael J. Fox stepped directly onto the public stage. He appeared on television, in front of cameras, with his body visibly shaking, to remind the world that this was a reality that could not be hidden. That courage resonated widely, though it also made him a target. In 2006, when Fox publicly supported Democratic candidates who backed stem cell research, some conservative voices accused him of exaggerating his symptoms to win sympathy. He did not back down. His reply was blunt. "This is not a performance. This is who I am, and this is exactly why I fight." It is this steadfastness, candor, and willingness to reveal his most fragile truth that allowed Michael J. Fox to transcend the label of movie star. He became the strongest voice for the Parkinson's community, living proof that one individual, armed with courage and conviction, can change the course of medical research in our time. While Michael J. Fox gradually became the public face of the fight against Parkinson's, behind the spotlight, the true source of strength that sustained him day by day was Tracy Pollan. They first met in 1985 on the set of Family Ties. At the time, Tracy was cast as Ellen Reed, Alex P. Keaton's girlfriend. Amid the witty back and forth of their scenes, an unexpected chemistry emerged. They didn't fall in love immediately, but they left a lasting impression on each other. It wasn't until later, when they met again by chance in New York, that they began dating. Their relationship grew not from Hollywood glamour, but from the simple harmony of two young people. In 1988, they married, in a wedding that was far from lavish, contrary to what many might imagine for a star at the peak of his career. Tracy chose Michael not for fame or money, but because she saw in him a sensitive heart, a man who needed to be loved for who he truly was. In 1989, they welcomed their first child, Sam, For Fox, becoming a father was a joy greater than any cinematic triumph. Over the years, their family grew. Twin daughters Aquina and Skylar were born in 1995, followed by their youngest, Esme, in 2001. In their home, life wasn't about glittering parties, but about noisy family dinners, music drifting from a daughter's room, or everyone crowding together on weekends. Yet fatherhood also came with silent pain. When Michael was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 1991, Tracy was only 31, far too young to shoulder such a daunting marriage. Fox was haunted by the fear of becoming a burden. He once looked into his wife's eyes and confessed, choking back tears, that he didn't know how much longer he could protect his family. But Tracy never left. She answered with calm assurance, "You don't have to be strong. You just have to be here." Those words became the lifeline that pulled Fox back from the abyss. When he tried to escape into alcohol, Tracy patiently waited, encouraged him, and stood by him through every step of recovery. When tremors made him stumble, Tracy was the one to steady him. When he feared the pitying gaze of their children, Tracy taught them that their father was still a hero, not because he was flawless, but because he had the courage to face the truth. Their marriage was not without tears, but it was also filled with laughter. On nights when Fox sat frozen by violent tremors, Tracy and the kids would deliberately tell jokes, turning the heaviness into a family comedy hour. On days when he needed a wheelchair, little Esme still clung to her father as if no distance existed at all. If in the world Michael J. Fox was celebrated as an unyielding warrior, then within his home, the story was far simpler. He was a man, sometimes trembling, sometimes vulnerable, yet always surrounded by a steadfast wife and 4 children overflowing with love. Family did not erase the disease, but it turned it into part of the journey, ensuring that Fox would never have to walk it alone. After settling into their family life, Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan began searching for a true home where they could raise their children in peace. In 1997, they built a spacious house on a 72-acre property in Sharon, Connecticut. The house was not only a retreat from Hollywood's noise, but also a heaven where the children could grow up surrounded by nature. There, the Fox family spent some of their most important years. Picnics on the lawn, small gatherings with close friends, and private moments as Michael gradually came to terms with Parkinson's. After 2 decades, they sold the home in 2017 for about $4 million. That same year, Fox and Pollan purchased a new property in Quogue, in the Hamptons, an area both luxurious and serene. However, their long-term haven would eventually be on the West Coast. In 2021, the family relocated to Santa Barbara, California, where they acquired a 22-acre estate overlooking the ocean and forest, complete with a main house, guest house, lush gardens, and a large swimming pool. The property became a true sanctuary, luxurious yet immersed in nature, allowing Fox to maintain a rare balance between illness and daily life. Despite owning multiple homes, the Fox family has continued to keep strong ties to Manhattan, New York, where they spend much of their time connected to the community, their children's schools, and cultural and social activities. The rhythm of life between New York, the Hamptons, and California created a lifestyle both urban and rural, yet always bound together by family. Financially, according to many sources on YouTube and entertainment outlets, Michael J. Fox's net worth is estimated at around $65 million, a figure that reflects not only his illustrious acting career, but also his success in publishing, philanthropy, and real estate investments. Yet at age 64, what people care about most is no longer his wealth, but his health. Fox now relies on a wheelchair for long distances after multiple falls left lasting injuries. To reduce risks, he lost about 25 pounds, a survival strategy, as he calls it, rather than an aesthetic choice. His diet has been adjusted toward mindfulness, eating slowly, choosing foods beneficial to his health. Alongside that, he practices light physical therapy to maintain mobility and finds peace through meditation. At his Santa Barbara estate, amid the sound of waves and rustling trees, Michael J. Fox still keeps his morning ritual, sitting on the porch, a cup of coffee trembling in his hand, but his smile shining bright. The disease may steadily weaken his body, but it has never taken away his optimism, the very spirit his family, his fans, and the world continue to see in him. Throughout his battle with Parkinson's disease, Michael J. Fox has inspired not only through the screen, but also with his own words. In 2002, he released his memoir, Lucky Man, recounting the early years after his Parkinson's diagnosis and his journey from despair to discovering new meaning in life. The book became a bestseller, not just because of his fame, but because of the sincerity, humor, and resilience that shine through every page. 7 years later, Always Looking Up, 2009, delved deeper into Fox's life philosophy, how he relied on faith, family, community, and optimism to navigate his darkest days. The audiobook, narrated by Fox himself, earned him the Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album in 2010, proof of his extraordinary ability to connect with audiences even as his voice trembled from illness. In 2010, Fox published A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Future, a compact yet inspiring book written like a letter to young people. Embrace mistakes, fall down, and then rise again, because that is how true lessons are learned. By 2020, as his health visibly declined, he released No Time Like the Future, candidly sharing his fears of memory loss, risky surgeries, and the helplessness of a body slowly betraying him. The book was a courageous confession. He was not immortal, yet he still chose to live with kindness and faith. And now, according to the latest reports, in October 2025, Michael J. Fox will release a new work titled Future Boy. The book is expected to serve as a doorway back to 1985, the fateful year when Back to the Future was released and made him a global cultural icon. But unlike his earlier reflections, this time, Fox looks back not through the eyes of a young star, but as a man who has traveled nearly the whole journey, gathering memory, pain, and gratitude into one narrative. Alongside his writing career, Fox has been honored with prestigious awards beyond the arts. In 2010, he was invested into the Order of Canada, OC, one of the country's highest honors, and also received the Freedom of the City from Burnaby, where his family once lived. That same year, he appeared at the closing ceremony of the Vancouver Winter Olympics, carrying Canadian pride onto the world stage. The pinnacle of recognition came on January 4th, 2025, when Michael J. Fox was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian honor in the United States. Under the lights of the White House, the image of the small man in a wheelchair, his smile radiant, stood as living proof of a life lived not just for himself, but for millions of others. Despite his declining health, Fox has never said goodbye to the arts. In 2025, he surprised audiences with a guest role in the Apple TV Plus series Shrinking. It was not a major comeback, but rather a gentle reminder. He is still here, still able to bring laughter, and still eager to be part of the artistic story he has devoted his life to. Looking back on Michael J. Fox's journey, one realizes that his legacy goes far beyond films, awards, or best-selling books. What truly remains is the way a man rose from personal tragedy to shine a light for an entire community. In cinema, the image of Marty McFly on a hoverboard has become a cultural symbol of the 1980s. It was not just a successful role, but a collective memory for millions, a character embodying youth, curiosity, and the desire to break boundaries, all contained in a small figure with immense impact. Alex P. Keaton in Family Ties marked a generation of American television, reflecting generational conflicts during the Reagan era. Later, Michael Flaherty in Spin City proved that he was not only a youthful star, but also a mature actor, able to enrich his characters with personal experience. These roles made him one of the rare figures who could bridge two worlds, television and film. Yet Michael J. Fox's greatest legacy does not lie on screen, but in how he transformed Parkinson's disease into a driving force to change the world. Through the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's Research, he helped advance critical scientific progress, from building a vast database on the disease to discovering biomarkers that enable unprecedented accuracy in early diagnosis. More than $2 billion has been raised by the foundation. But what matters more is the millions of patients worldwide who now have new hope thanks to the projects funded under Michael J. Fox's name. He also left an enduring mark through his character. In a Hollywood filled with noise and scandal, Fox maintained an image of humility and warmth, always able to make a room laugh even as he trembled before the camera. He proved that weakness is not failure. It can become strength if one chooses to face it honestly. In Canada, Fox is regarded as a source of national pride. In the United States, he became an honorary citizen through prestigious honors like the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Globally, he stands as the irreplaceable voice of the Parkinson's community, a testament to the power of resilience and kindness. And perhaps Michael J. Fox's deepest emotional legacy is how he helped people understand that time. The very thing he once traveled through on screen is life's most precious gift. No one can control it, but we can choose to live fully in every single moment. Michael J. Fox does not need more golden statues to prove himself. What he leaves behind is something far deeper, the belief that even when the body betrays us, we can still choose to live beautifully and meaningfully. In cinematic memory, audiences don't only recall Marty McFly, Alex P. Keaton, or Michael Flaherty. They remember his quick, lively eyes, his radiant smile, and above all, the spirit that refused to bow to time. He showed that art is not confined to the screen, but also lives in the way a person tells the story of their own life, with honesty, with courage, and with compassion. Today, when people mention Michael J. Fox, few measure him by box office numbers. What they hold on to is the feeling he left behind. Resilience laced with gentleness, laughter interwoven with tremors, and a sense of hope that assures the world it is not alone. And that is the greatest victory of any artist, the victory of rising above illness and prejudice to touch the human heart. If Michael J. Fox's journey has ever moved you, through a role, a book, or simply the way he smiles in the face of adversity, share your thoughts in the comments below. Perhaps your story, too, will become part of the legacy he leaves behind. And if you'd like to continue exploring the extraordinary stories hidden within the ordinary lives of artists, Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Because behind every spotlight, there are journeys yet untold, and we'll take you there.